Hi, I'm Marilyn Woodruff with Knits and Designs, and I'm here today to introduce you to the Roadtrip cowl. This is a really fun cowl pattern that is very easy to make. I named it Roadtrip because it's very compact. It's a really easy to memorize pattern, and you can make it while you're riding along in a car. I made mine sample when I was on an airplane, and it's a lot of fun and a very easy pattern. It requires 12 minis. You can use minis in different ways in this pattern. It's very flexible, and it ends up being quite tall. This is one that I made out of color blocked yarns. This is actually the Gothic Minis set out of Biscotti Sock from Yarn Cafe Creations. And you can see the actual cowl is quite long, and depending upon how you choose to use your colors, if you color block it like this, you can choose to have any color showing at any time. Just simply by the way that you stack it. You can make it with gradients so that it will slowly fade from one color to another. And let me take you over to the table and let's get a close-up view of the lace, and I'll walk you through some potential ways that you could use different types of yarn and yarn that you even have left over from other projects in your stash to make this Roadtrip cowl. Okay, let's take a closer look at the lace on this cowl. You can see it's a very short repeat, and the way that it works is you'll have two colors in work at any given time. So you'll cast on with color 1, and then you'll immediately do a stripe with color 2, and then you'll finish the repeat with color 1, and then you'll change to your next color, and then you'll do that. So you'll do one stripe of the main color that you're working with, one stripe of the contrast, and then you'll finish that repeat. And you can do this in a lot of different ways. The pattern calls for 12 repeats. With 12 repeats, this is a very, very tall cowl. So it's approximately 35 to 40 inches tall, depending on your gauge. And it makes that very convenient for you to mix and match colors. You can also just use 6 colors and make your cowl half as tall. That will work just fine. Each of these sections, each repeat, takes about 10 grams of yarn. So I used fingering weight here. You can use fingering weight. You can use DK and do half the number of stitches, half the number of stitch repeats. And you can also pick yarn from stash. So if you want to maintain it and do the 12 repeat pattern, you can do a couple things. If you've got full size 20 gram minis, you can do 6 and then 6. You can do gradients. One thing that I would say with gradients is make sure that when you're doing your gradient that there's enough distinction between colors that you'll be able to see these stripes adding visual interest. So if you've got a series of gradients, it might make sense to do 6 in one gradient color and 6 in another gradient color, to where your first series of gradients goes from lightest to darkest and your second series of gradients goes from darkest to lightest. So you'll always have plenty of distinction in your patterns. The stitches themselves in this are very straightforward. It's truly SSKs knit 2 togethers with a central double decrease that makes the spine of each of these stitches. So I'm not going to do any stitch tutorials on this particular cowl because they are very easy, intentionally, so that you can make this on the fly, as it were. So I would love to see your color combinations and your yarn combinations that you come up with. So be sure to tag me at Knits and Designs on Instagram and on Ravelry. I would love to see your projects in flight. I hope you enjoy making Roadtrip Cowl.